Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah from Texas, and this is our place to chat all the latest celebrity news, reality TV, Jeff Lewis Live, Watch What Happens Live. Oh my gosh, so much to chat about, and I'm not even caught up with it all, but I am so excited. Oh my gosh, I've got a lot of really fun stuff to watch tonight, or today. As soon as this is over, I'm going to watch it. Hope you're having an amazing day. It's a great sunny, but a little bit chilly weather this morning. So let's see. I think it was like 66 maybe, which is super nice. So anyways, stayed up kind of late, went to a Friendsgiving last night. We played. Girl has the best. I mean, they've got a great, anyways, she has so much fun stuff, but she comes with the best ideas, the best party stuff, the best decor, everything. But we played musical chairs. It was so freaking fun. Who thought at 50 something? I mean, there was older people. It's usually a mix. Her daughter's like 21. So, but most everyone is like, 40, late 40s, 50s, 60s. Anyways, it was so fun. And to see everyone become so competitive, I got out at like, I don't know, maybe 8 chairs left. There was, I don't even know how many people were there with us. I don't know, at least 20. I didn't even count. Anyways, it was so fun. I made this delicious chickpeas and cucumber and tomato and feta cheese salad. It is so good. So I just had a little bit more. And then today I was momming a little extra hard. And then I had a training to go to for my mentor program. So anyways, that's why I'm a little bit behind today, but I know I have not finished all of New York, Real Housewives of New York, and I haven't watched anything but the after show of Watch What Happens Live. But of course, I've seen tons of videos because on the YouTube, on Watch What Happens Live, the YouTube channel, they always put up a bunch of good clips. And so there was a ton of good clips of Jeff Lewis and Saida Silva. So yeah, thank you. That salad was so good. So I've had a similar salad to that without the chickpeas, but for some reason I have 3 cans of chickpeas in my pantry. No idea what I'd planned to cook. I mean, I'm not dumb enough to try to make homemade hummus, like literally. Although I have had Pole's homemade hummus and it's really good. He really did make it for his boutique for us one time. And it's amazing. I have no idea why I have 3 cans. They're not expired. Why can't I remember what I bought them for? But whatever, I'm making this salad again this weekend. So I will use up a whole other can and then I'll figure it out from there. I know Louise says I've become quite the cooking queen. Thanks for sharing the recipes. You're so welcome. I'm just stumbling upon them on my Facebook. And I think now that I've like commented on a few or said, oh, I'm going to try this, I think they come up. Like I don't follow them, but they keep coming up. But it's so easy. All I'm doing is taking a picture of the food, taking a picture of the ingredients, and then taking a picture of the directions. And then I made an album in my Facebook called Recipes. So as I make something, if it doesn't turn out well, or if it's harder than I thought, or nobody eats it, I'm just going to delete the recipes, just delete the pictures of the album. But when I tell you, my husband, I was showering to go to this, the Friendsgiving last night, and he ran in, we were eating there. So I didn't even have any of this orzo rice and chicken meatballs yet. And he came in and was like, put that on the rotation. I came in to tell you that is one of the best things you've ever made. And I'm like, oh my God. He goes, what was with the orzo? Like, why was it so flavorful? And I'm like, I know, like you cook it in the, when chicken meat or any meatballs, I guess, I mean, I always make them frozen, but when you cook something like that, the meat kind of gets into the bottom of the skillet. So you take the meatballs out and you cook the orzo rice in that. So it gets all that good flavoring. So I love it. I'm inspiring y'all to cook. That is what a crazy world we live in, that I'm inspiring anybody to cook. So, Louise says, I don't do Facebook. So glad you post on Instagram. I almost always post on Instagram. I don't put this on my regular Facebook, but I'm forgetting to put it on Facebook page also. different people have Instagram, different people only have Facebook, only have YouTube, only have and some people have everything. So anyways, Lisa says it's a lazy, rainy day up in Louisville, Kentucky on this hump day. So get comfortable, relax, do all the things. So I'm excited. I don't have anything going on tonight, so I'm going to relax. So it'll be a good night. Okay. Make sure to hit the like button, the thumbs up, all the things. I really appreciate it. Let us know in comments what number you were when you hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. Let's get into a little bit of celebrity news. So I have not, this is another thing I got distracted by because I was momming a little bit this morning. Momming a little extra hard. I'm always momming, right? Andy Cohen Live. I haven't listened to all of it. I listened to about 25, 30 minutes of it. At that point, I hadn't heard an apology at all. But I now know that John Hill, what y'all told me yesterday is that John Hill, immediately after Andy Cohen, he did an apology to Kelly Dodd on his own show. So I did hear about that from y'all. I think they ended up chatting about it later on Andy Cohen Live because Jordan, the producer, was talking about the multiple Instagram stories and Instagram lives and the emergency Patreon that Kelly Dodd posted about the thing. So, and then this morning, Rick commented on one of my posts or something that said, still waiting on an apology. And then another thing he said underneath my post was something about, it should be a disgrace for these men to talk about a woman like that. And I was like, anyways, it was just, hold on, I'm trying to get through all my it was interesting. I mean, it's kind of become, even Jeff said, oh my God, y'all mess with the wrong place. Like, she is not going to let this die. I mean, I don't know. Does she need a direct apology? Was his radio show enough of an apology? So Rick said, they should both be ashamed of themselves, and any woman that supports that kind of language and hypocrisy. Andy says moments later, we should be civil and not name, call, or bully. And his answer to John Hill saying Kelly is a gross fat pig is, she's not fat. Disgusting. So anyways, that is on the, I guess I'd made this video yesterday. So it's on that video yesterday about Andy and John respond to Kelly Dodd's attack. It might go on a while, who knows, but I feel like Andy is Switzerland. He said it on Jeff Lewis Day. He's like, I am out of this. I'm so glad I'm not involved in this. He does not want to probably be called into HR, but he also is like, yesterday he said something like, well, I really don't think about Kelly and Rick. So that's probably more hurtful than anything else they said. But they were talking about chumps today, and like, the chumps have money and stuff. So they were trying, John and Andy were like, what are our listeners called? Like, if Jeff Lewis's listeners are called chumps because that's their name, we should be called gimps. And the reason he said that is because last week, Andy a door slammed in his forehead, I think, and gashed him open. And then today he did something where he ran into something with his knee. And so he was all gimped up. He was hurt. So he was saying, yeah, that our listeners should be called gimps. So I don't love the name, but also, they made the word chump that David Bador came up with, calling Jeff and his friends that as a bad thing. And Jeff has completely turned it around. So anyways, I think gimps are not too bad. Oh, it is Tuesday. I always forget about Taco Tuesday. Our kids that are away at college, they like tacos. The ones that are home now, one of them likes burritos. So I tend to make burrito meat for that kid instead of tacos. But, and then I've got those flavored, they have like Taco Bell, Dorito flavored tacos. I've got the ones that are flat that don't like roll over. They're just sitting in my pantry, but they last freaking forever. Oh, Tiffany says, so it was apparently her mom, and her mom took responsibility for it. The email that Andy Cohen got on yesterday's show said, did you hear about Kelly Dodd calling you a sissy? Well, when Kelly Dodd's first Instagram live or story, whatever video went up, she said it wasn't even me. And she showed it was her mom in the back seat going, it was me that called you a sissy. That's my name for you. So, but obviously Kelly didn't shut it down. Tiffany Chump says, why didn't anyone bring up that Kelly Dodd started with the name calling? So, anyways, what are tempo meals? I get tempo meals. Tempo meals had factor for 2 years, needed a change. Oh. The meals that I did when Chef Stu was working with Weight Watchers, I did one order of that Weight Watchers, and actually I thought the food was good. I mean, clearly when you're eating that low of calories, you're gonna lose weight, but so I would always, add some food to it, right? So anyways, okay, Teddy Mellencamp, new stuff is coming out all the time. I didn't wasn't it Kelly Dodd that said that um that the kids should go to her ex or soon to be ex Edwin because of this affair? I'm like, don't know that I agree with that. And I don't know that she should be getting involved in that. This is none of her business. Whose kids we don't even know. You got to really prove some bad shit for a woman, for a mom to lose complete custody of her kids. Anyways, but it is coming out a little bit more and more that she was maybe having this, or is still having this months-long affair with a horse trainer. So I don't know if that's the reason. I can't imagine an affair necessarily is the reason for a divorce. It seems like an affair is like the result of issues in a marriage, whether it should happen or not. I'm just saying, I don't think an affair might be the start if they learn about that. But I mean, I'm assuming some people know there's issues in the marriage, whether they want to admit it at the time or it's enough to divorce. Once one or two or both have an affair, some people decide to divorce. So I have no idea what their reasoning is, what's going on at this, but I'm assuming Tamara knew everything. And so that's kind of interesting. Yes, I'm hearing the horse trainer is a married person also. And I think a lot of times married people cheat with married people because they both have something to lose, right? You don't necessarily, you're not going to have the other person outing you because they've got enough to lose also, right? They're married also. Anyways, who is Matt? Wait, y'all are on the wrong program, James. If you think I'd know who the Attorney General is, I have no idea. Wrong live. James McDonald says thoughts on Matt Gaetz appointment as Attorney General. I mean, y'all can answer that in the comment. I have no idea what that is. I mean, I've heard of an Attorney General, but I'm not going to act like I know what that is. Okay. For some reason, 90 Day Fiance The Other Way was 2 hours long last night. First of all, it's episode 20. What in the actual? I'm pretty sure the Sunday night show, which is before the 90 days, is 2 hours. And then The Other Way is usually an hour, which is like an abbreviation because freaking TLC, they love a 2 hour 90 Day Fiance. So I'm watching it last night and I'm like, holy shit, this isn't ending. So then I had to watch some more of it today and finish it, but it was freaking 2 hours. I thought today was going to be the tell-all part 1. I didn't know it was going to be episode 20. How in the world? So last night they did Sarper and Shekinah. They updated on Corona and Inky. Josh and Lily finally got married. It was beautiful. Tata and James, he's leaving and she's crying. This is like every episode, right? I take that back. Sarper and Shekinah had their engagement party. So that doesn't happen all the time. And then Joanne and Sean, the ones in Ireland, she finally had to tell Sean, look, I've decided I'm not going to stay here. Or I'm not going to live in Ireland most of the time and then go to see my 12-year-old and 17 or 18-year-old sons kind of part-time. So they're kind of struggling with that. Thought it was a really good episode, but I don't need y'all going from 1 hour to 2 hours. Not at episode 20. Y'all are making this into a full-time job. Wait, what? What? I don't watch the previews. Louise says Josh and Lily are still not having sex. I did not see the preview of the reunion. They have no little kids. He doesn't even have a job. she, I guess, owns businesses, but didn't even have the couple $1,000s to pay the last payment of her wedding. And then they show this wedding and it's freaking lobster and extravagant and flowers, so beautiful. I mean, it was really pretty, very sweet. I mean, she even looks at Josh and is like, "Are you happy?" Which I was thrilled about because I think all she wants to do is make him happy. But she seems to be buying him with this stuff instead of, well, clearly, I don't know what's going on with their relationship. They fight. They're not having sex. He did apologize very wholeheartedly to her daughter. Her daughter was smiling at the wedding. It was really sweet. But she's still like, I kind of need to get to it's the same thing what I said a few weeks ago. What's going on is a lot of these people have issues with their family, and it's kind of bleeding over into their relationships on 90 Day Fiance. The whole thing with Sarper and Shekinah, it was really sad that she's like, none of my family's here. But also, if I were to move to the US with her, my parents want to know that we're going to be embraced by your family like my family is embracing you here at the engagement party. And she's like, yeah, I'm sorry that that's not going to happen, but they don't agree with this relationship. So it's crazy. So is Lily poor or not poor? I mean, I guess she could sell this house and get money. She could sell that pink leather car of hers, sell the business. But does she not have actual money to pay the few thousand, the last 30% or 70%, whatever it is, for the wedding? Or was she just doing that as a test for Josh to pay up? And then he couldn't even pay up. He didn't have the funds available. I think he's got the money somewhere. I just don't think he was able to turn it around that quickly into, sending and paying for it. Still no sex, and Lily pays for everything. The daughter screams at the reunion, "Why won't you F my mother?" Oh, gross. Does he have any kids? I don't remember. It's freaking episode 20. I should know more about Josh, but I feel like all they do is fight. So I don't know. She's the one, though, the daughter is the one at the wedding that was like, well, y'all haven't kissed yet. She was like, kiss my mom. They kissed like they were 90 years old. I mean, the way Lily kissed Josh, it looked like they hadn't done it in, months. And if they're not effing, they're probably not kissing either. You know what I mean? Michael Riley says, for the love of God, why are you watching these shows? I know, because my type A, my ADD, my self-diagnosed, whatever I have, my mental issues, I can't start a show and get so into 90 Day Fiance, then stop it. Because what they do, none of these people are from another show, but a lot of times they'll take one or two couples from one and put them into another. And then I'm like, crap, now I got to figure out that's what they did with Chantel and who was the guy that Chantel was married to? They made a whole Chantel TV show, spinoff for that. I mean, then I had to watch the Chantel show. I mean, she's probably the last person I was interested in. I felt like that dude was just cheating. Anne says that we love to hate them for sure. We need a break from the housewives. Amen. I mean, Pedro and Chantel. Yes, thank you. They finally divorced, but wasn't that awkward? At the last tell-all with Chantel. I mean, her and her mom are just, they need to do a crazy, what's the mom and the parents TV show where the mom and the daughter are like twinsies and they're tied at the hip. They need to do a show on Chantel's mom and her. Anyways, I agree with Joanne finally, seeming to put her kids first, because, basically if the 17-year-old boy is telling you, look, mom, we don't want you to live in another country from us, but I'm not going to be the one to tell you to make that decision because it is your life. But whenever she hears that their 12-year-old is not even saying anything, I think she realizes, if he's getting quiet on this, she knows her son the best. She probably knows that means he's having an issue with this and she needs to get back to the US and, kind of figure that out. So I don't know what they'll do. Sean's got an 8-year-old daughter. He either can't leave Ireland or he won't leave. Maybe the family, maybe the ex-wife, the ex, whatever it's called. the baby mama, but they're both in a situation where they both have kids that are young enough to depend on them, and they live in different countries. So I don't even think they should have gotten all that done together. Sarper and Shekinah, I wouldn't say he proposed, but he basically said, I will marry you. I'm not going to ask it as a question. I thought it was romantic. I just don't even know how much money he has. I mean, that dinky ass apartment just grosses me out. And I'm like, I never see him go to work. I mean, I guess when you stop training women, I'm assuming that put a dent in your bank account. So I don't know. We all know TLC doesn't pay a whole lot. Anyways, he's just so freaking cocky, and the ring was big. It was on her right hand, and I'm like, okay, I have a friend that's from Turkey. She's married. Her ring is on her left hand. Now, maybe it's because she lives in the US. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's the engagement. Maybe in Turkey it goes on the right hand, but he had to put it on twice. The night that he proposed in the boat, and then they take the ring off and they do a ring ceremony that was actually really beautiful with this ribbon, and the oldest person in the family cuts the ribbon to kind of show that they approve of the wedding, the engagement, which I thought was really, really a sweet tradition that, Sarper wanted to show her, because she wasn't married to the girl that's her 15 or 16-year-old daughter. She's never been married, so she's kind of feeling all of this, what have you. Tata and James, I don't know what's going on with them. What is his deal with like not telling anyone anything? Like, he didn't tell his parents that he was coming over to Indonesia. Then he doesn't tell her parents that he's leaving to the US. They're basically looking at him like, why are you bringing luggage on this day trip when, we're just going on this day trip? It was so crazy. I love that they show us that stuff, because I would have never known that tradition. So Louise says the tradition where the person getting engaged in Turkey, the tradition is that the girl makes coffee, and she does something to make it really gross, like make it real bitter, make it weak, make it strong, put salt in it, do something. And their commitment to the marriage, this might be a clue, right? Is that the husband, the fiance, is supposed to just drink it and not have any negative emotion. He's supposed to be like, oh, that's the best coffee I've ever had. Instead, Sarper is drinking it, and he's like, that's good. And I'm like, you sipping on that nasty coffee about as real as y'all's marriage is going to be. You know what I mean? Anyways, but it was very sweet. Anne says they cry too much. Yeah, but see, I like learning about some of these traditions, because honestly, I learn a lot more. The Muslim couples that have been on, or at least where one of them is Muslim, I learn a lot more about that culture and their traditions. You see the food from these countries, you see how they live. I mean, at least it shows that kind of fun stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, Louise said, how did he pay to have that bridge lit up? Well, that was he didn't even say, he just said, did he say, will you marry me? Or he said, I will marry, or he said like Sarper heart Shekinah. He was like, you see how there's no question? Because I'm not asking you. I'm telling you I'm going to marry you. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, you're my most perfect man ever. And I'm like, ugh, like, if he's your most perfect man, you have not had some men then, Shekinah. My goodness. Gross. Do y'all think it's going to do y'all think their marriage is going to last? He wanted a baby. I guess he's forgotten about that, right? Corona and Inky go to this beautiful, again, they show us Iceland, which I would never see. Probably, I'll probably never go there, but they go to this beautiful glacier, and then this bridge, or I don't even know what it was, and then this hot water springs. I mean, it was beautiful. They have a really good talk. I think if her true dream is to be a midwife, she needs to take her position at Penn State or Penn, whichever one it is, and get her schooling done in a couple of years and then go there. But it sounds like to work there in Iceland, she's probably going to have to learn the language, because if they don't do classes in English as an option, that probably means there's not, and it's only one midwifery school in the whole of Iceland. they don't have enough people, English speaking, I shouldn't say Americans, English speaking students. Like everyone has to learn all this stuff in Iceland. So Icelandic, I don't know, what's it called? Um, oh, that TV show, The Challenge. Lisa says, I feel like The Challenge has way too many people on it in the beginning. It drags out so much, but I'm here for it. That's where CT's famous from, right? The whole thing about CT is everyone says he's super into shows and he wins, but then he's not the best reality TV star. Like he just kind of disappears. He doesn't want all the limelight and whatever. So I don't know. Anyways, okay, I have not finished watching RHONY, but the part I get to is where I'm at. I see Rebecca and Aaron talking, and Aaron's trying to learn more about Rebecca being Jewish as a religion, but she's also a Scientologist also. So she kind of at least give me the background on how she considers herself Jewish and a Scientologist. So that was interesting. Sai goes to Rebecca's business and looks at all this Wicked stuff. What I didn't understand is obviously Wicked comes out. You know what? No, I'm going in I'm going in 2 weekends. A friend rented out I'm going in a couple of weekends to see Wicked in the movie theaters. Rented out what do you call it? A theater room, and we're going to go see it. Anyways, but clearly it's coinciding with the fact that Wicked is coming out. So I couldn't tell if she did these Wicked inspired purses and a crown and a little bobbity bop thing, or if that's the stuff that was in the movie. Because Sai's little girl, who's 12, said, "Oh, I can't wait to tell everyone that I touched this that was from the movie." So I didn't really understand what that was. Wait, have you been, Christina? Have you been to Iceland? The silica mud from Iceland's Blue Lagoon spa leaves your skin baby soft. Okay, now I want to know. Thank you, Sephora. You're number 29 on hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you for hitting it, everyone. Thank you, Sephora. I need to go. Okay, so I saw that. I saw Sai. Her daughter is beautiful. They go to that, and I think Rebecca gives her a purse to take home. And then I see where Bryn and Jessel and Aaron are at breakfast, I guess, because Jessel orders like some sort of English breakfast. And then Bryn starts telling Jessel, stir in the pot, as she says. She got carpal tunnel from stirring the pot, about Jenna basically agreeing that she's a basic bitch, which she didn't exactly say that. Production goes back and tells you the FaceTime that they did, and she didn't exactly say that. I think there's a difference in what they think it means to be a basic bitch, like you're boring, or that you're a Karen and you try too hard. Like, I don't think they're all on the same page. And then Uba, English isn't her first language. So when she called her Jessel a basic bitch, I think other people were trying to tell her, hey, this is what it means. And she's really not. Like, she dresses very stylish. Wait, the movie is 2 parts, or am I going to see it all in one day? I had no idea it's 2 parts. I don't know. I've only seen it in New York City on Broadway. Okay, now I have no idea if it's a 2-part movie. What does that mean? Or is it going to be like in a year we'll see part 2? I don't even know. Okay, so I do see the part where Aaron then talks about Rebecca and kind of shyly says, well, she's pregnant. And Bryn's all like, oh, and Jessel, because, we know Jessel wants to use that next, or have another baby girl. She wants to have the girl from her boy twins. And they're all like, oh, she's pregnant. And Aaron's kind of subtle. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of wild that they're kind of telling pregnancy news of somebody else. Because people do that in real life, but a lot of housewives are done having their kids by the time they come on, right? Like, we're going to see Aaron's pregnancy and everything that she just announced, but really only like, Teddy had a baby, but she didn't really have it on the show. Teresa had a baby on the show, the baby that's now 15 years old. Crazy. I totally remember watching Adriana be born. Rebecca had a baby before she got on the show, but really most people have like a 1 year up. New Jersey had a couple of like 1-year-olds and stuff. But then she's saying, Erin's implying that Rebecca had kind of a crazy wild night and she doesn't know who the baby's child is. So is this the prank that they're talking about, that the whole show was about a prank? Because that's really kind of gross. But also, I thought if you do a prank, I thought they would show us Erin and whoever the prankster is, like that they were like thinking of this and, oh, we're going to tell this and see, how the telephone game works and who tells what and who tells what. I don't know. It was weird. All I know is yesterday, because I've already heard some stuff. I haven't finished watching New York, as you know, because I had the Friendsgiving to go to last night and then a busy day today. But I did hear some, Erin basically saying the pregnancy we're talking about tonight is not this pregnancy. So I thought it meant Erin was going to say that she had that she was pregnant on this show, but then she ends up losing the baby and then now she's pregnant again. So I'm so confused. Yeah, she's not even pregnant. But how is that? That's gross. Like, that's not even y'all know I'm team Erin Leachy. I love her. But it's gross to be married with 4 children and to make up a prank that she got wild and got pregnant and doesn't know who the baby's daddy is, especially when she's still breastfeeding. Like, she's all banging it out and milk is leaking from her boobs from the dad of the 4 children. Yeah, I did hear that. Louise said, Andy even said on Watch What Happens Live that he doesn't like pranks like that. I mean, they could have edited it out. Like, is this what they needed to make a whole episode about? I mean, New York City. I mean, we're going to have to bring it, or I feel like y'all are going to be Dubai very soon. Like Caroline Stanberry. I used to see their TikToks all the time. They've been kind of quiet now. Oh my goodness. Okay. Deja Monet says, I don't know if we will even see Erin's pregnancies. I'm hearing rumblings that RHONY will be placed on pause. I don't know. I think at this point, they filmed it so long ago. It's going on now. They're seeing the ratings. This was episode 7 already. So they kind of know the ratings. I think I've seen the ratings each week. Somebody posts them. I can't remember who. Maybe Bravo post Cocktail repost them. I feel like New York has been ahead of Salt Lake. No, Potomac was ahead of, and then I think it was Salt Lake City, maybe, and then Potomac, and then New York. So I think New York is number 3. I don't know, but I don't know how I don't even think Salt Lake City's good. Louise says it made me want to stop watching RHONY. I wasn't that interested before, and now I'm about done. Oh, see, that's what I'm hoping it shows. That's what I'm thinking. It was kind of a game of telephone, which that part I'm fabulous about. But don't make it a joke about somebody being accidentally pregnant with a one-night stand when you're married with 4 kids. Like, currently married with 4 kids is a whole other ballgame for me. First of all, I do think 4 kids matters more than 1 because it shows they've chosen to bring 4 humans into the world together. But the fact that she's currently married and has a baby. Tiffany Chump says, what I got from the prank is that it shows who spreads a rumor. So that I'm all for. I'm all for them figuring out that and showing kind of who plays telephone and all that kind of stuff. But don't make it a prank about that. You know what I mean? Yeah, they've announced Housewives of London at the London thing they did a few weekends ago. They officially announced it there, although it had been that's true. Renee says joking about pregnancy is not funny at all, period. And I think a lot of us have seen the April Fool's jokes of people in the past. And, finally people started speaking out going, that's not funny. Like, there's people that are really struggling to have a baby or another baby or to maintain a pregnancy. So when you come on and joke that you're pregnant and you're really not, but you've got 4 kids already, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, it's insensitive at best. So for sure. So they figure out who it was that could say it. I'm wondering if Caroline is moving back to London. Yvonne Gal says, yeah, because Dubai is, I mean, they just built that house, but who knows? Anyways, okay, Jeff is still in New York City. He's got a $10,000 dinner tonight. No idea who it is. DM me, let me know. No, I'm kidding. Don't DM me. Wait. Oh, I saw this video. Okay, I don't know why. I just turned up my thing. The bride that was stood up by family and friends in a viral TikTok hits back at speculation that she's a horrible person. So did y'all hear this? See this video? Wow. So this bride and groom had a wedding at this venue. I mean, they clearly expected a bunch of people. Nobody showed up for them. And then they put a video out on it. But I'm like, I got questions like, why would nobody show up? Like that's, I don't know. I mean, unless it's on like a Wednesday at 10 a.m. I don't know. So crazy. Yeah, Mama Judy says, I'm so sick of the New York franchise. Brent is just sickening. And Jeff pretty much said the same on Watch What Happens Live, which I loved. Okay, on the first hour was Doug Buden and Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen on Jeff Lewis Live, that's how they started talking about chumps and how rich they are and stuff, because and how they started talking about that their listeners should be called gimps because, you know, Andy's hurt. Is because they were talking about how good Jeff looks. And Andy was saying, I'm going to do his show. I'm going to ask him how he looks so good. I think he had work done. And Jeff's like, no, I'm sleeping well. I'm eating less and I'm drinking less. And I've lost a chin. And I'm like, wow, I've got a couple of, I could lose a chin. Like I think this might be genetic. My mom had one of these little, I mean, it could be weight, but it definitely could be genetic for sure. Yes, Mama Judy says that pregnancy stuff wasn't funny or interesting. Then to find out it was made up, I just can't. Yeah, for sure. And Brent is just being like, even her joking about stirring the pot. I'm like, first of all, you didn't tell Jessel that you pretty much called her a basic bitch too. And you even admitted, oh, I just kind of left that out. I'm like, we don't need you to stir the pot. I want a reality show about real things that happen. If you have to stir the pot, people should just be a pot stirrer, right? We all have that friend, right? I can keep some good ass secrets, okay? I think y'all know. Y'all have told me some stuff, and I keep it to myself for darn sure. We all have the pot stirrer friends. I don't have any that I can think of because I just don't keep those kinds of friends around. We don't have drama like that. But within the housewives, I can see that one, that's just her personality. She's always been that way. But to be known for being the pot stirrer just because you want to stir up drama, like that's just, it's just fake and disingenuous. Is that a real word? Disingenuous? Sounds so fancy, right? Okay, so Charity Buzz, whoever you rich people are doing this auction, go and vote for Jeff. Go send some money for White Hunger to Jeff Lewis. I think you get to, I guess he'll let you either come in the New York studio or the LA studio, since he does come to New York quite often. But Andy, you can also put money to donate for him to come and sit in his studio. By the way, Andy, there was no picture today. You know why? Andy either doesn't allow it or SiriusXM doesn't allow him to be videoed or his picture taken for some reason. So I don't know if it, I mean, I can't really think of, has he been on other podcasts? I feel like he has. I feel like during the pandemic, maybe he had him on Isaac Mizrahi. Maybe he was on. Does Andy go on other people's podcasts? Or does he really only have people on his own? I really can't think. I'm assuming he maybe was a guest on his good friend's podcast, Kelly Ripa, but I don't really remember. Oh, he did. Yes, he wore the flip-flops. That's right. So why didn't they take a picture today? We won't have the video though, because they don't video Andy Cohen for sure. And they do video when they're in New York City, although I haven't watched the commercials from yesterday either. Like I told you, I'm behind. I've been busy. Tiffany Chump says, Andy took a picture last time he was on Jeff Lewis Live. Remember they rated his outfit. He wore flip-flops. Yeah, because he was like, I'm on the radio. And he was like, yeah, but we've got Poland Patrick. which, by the way, I think they've dumped that. Don't you feel like they eased out of it and now they don't they did this 30-minute, deep dive into what they were wearing and the brands and the descriptions and the shoes and the accessories. And then they started just gradually giving less and less, saying, oh, our winner for the week is this. My winner for the week is this. I don't even think they said anything about it in Dallas, right? I think it's a lot of extra work for Poland Patrick, and I just think the bit was not worth the extra time and energy. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe I just didn't hear it. I don't know. He did. Louise says Jeff looked really good last night. He looked happier than he has on there in the past. And it was also live. So I think there's something, it just gives you a little kick in the ass when it's live because it's like everyone's watching you right then. So I think it might have given him a little bit of whatever. No, he didn't have a chin. Debbie says, didn't anyone hear Jeff last week admit that he did have a chin emplacement? It's a type chin enhancement. It's a type of temporary filler that he gets. I can tell when he's had it. It's a slight plumping up. I don't remember anything about a chin thing. I remember the threads, and he quit doing that. But I think he gets Botox, but he's never bruised. Like, don't you get bruised when you have Botox? My friends do. I don't know. Oh, I can't wait to watch the commercial breaks, Tiffany. That's what I remember. I said the commercial at the very end. She said yesterday was good in the commercial breaks. Marge and Dorinda are definitely fighting. Oh, we heard it. I mean, Jeff was like, we shouldn't have gone to the commercial breaks. Like, they're fighting on the show. Jeff looks really good thin, though. Like, I think he does. Mama Judy says Jeff is getting almost too thin. I don't know. I think he still looks, very full and everything. May Boo says, to be truthful, Poland Patrick judgment on people's clothing, considering what both of them wear, is funny. I like them, that it's a bit much sometimes. Yeah. Debbie thinks he looks too thin also. Was it the dark suit that he wore, baby? I mean, obviously, but he probably wore dark, so he would look thinner too, right? Okay, so Jeff obviously wants to beat Andy Cohen in this Charity Buzz thing. So go to CharityBuzz.com, search Jeff Lewis, spend thousands if you can. But he, of course, brought up the feud between kind of John Hill and Kelly Dodd at this point, but they're going to keep saying Andy Cohen because there were so many people in my videos. It was like, they know who John Hill is, but some people were like, who is John Hill? I didn't even know he had a radio show with Andy Cohen. And I'm like, oh my God. Anyways, Andy's like, I'm Switzerland. I'm not involved in this. Jeff very much let Andy know that he would not be happy if he had a co-host that pretty much did that. And he feels like John Hill kind of took Andy down with him. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like everyone was responsible for what they say and do. And Andy can agree or disagree with John, and it has nothing to do with what John said. Like, he didn't make him say it. I don't think it was a planned bit. It was an email they got. I think what Andy said when he said, well, she's not fat, he was just saying, say what you will, those are opinions, but fat, I mean, I guess it's an opinion, but there's nothing remotely fat about Kelly. So I think that's where Andy was like, well, don't say that she's fat because that's not even remotely close. So, but pig, the B word, whatever else he said, are kind of more opinions and just name calling, whereas fat is kind of like, I mean, there's nothing about Kelly that you can call fat. So that was kind of a ridiculous opinion to say, but he's definitely not upset with John, and he's just happy that he's out of this story. I don't know when she called him a communist. So I think the whole video, I think she went Instagram Live over the weekend, and she puts her Instagram Lives up. So I think the one is up with her mom calling Andy Cohen the sissy, right? Is it up? Did anyone watch it live? Does anyone watch the replay? I don't follow her, so I didn't see it. I haven't gone back to watch it. Tiffany Chump says, Kelly called John a communist. John has every right to say what he wants about her. She does the same to everyone else also. It is interesting when people like blow others away with crazy ass shit, and then she's very upset. And I'm like, what? Don't you think other people are upset with the stuff that you say? You know what I mean? Yeah. Tanya says there's always two sides, and somewhere in the middle is usually your answer. Yeah, but none of this is private. This is all public. So, these aren't like public things that these are public things that they're saying about each other. You know what I mean? Crazy. Yes. Liz and the Bee says Kelly Dodd is vicious. She has no self-control. And boy, I mean, she can't have a better husband up her arse than Rick. I mean, that man will go to bat for her for darn sure. Okay, so am I confused? Is Andy confused? Is Jeff Lewis confused? Did they clear it up? Like Jeff is talking about Zoila. Andy's basically saying, hey, I love Zoila so much. Do you ever tell her, whenever I tell you, go back and tell Zoila I said hi? And Jeff's like, no, but why don't we call her right now? Which that I was all for. These phone calls lately with Aurora, I'm not here for. They sound fake. They sound pre-produced. She's not good on the radio. Zoila is great on the radio because she sounds like she didn't want to be there. Like, I love it that she's like, oh, Jeffrey. I love Zoila so much. But I love that she called and they called her and she answered. And it was just Andy wanting to fangirl out basically and be like, I miss you. I love you so much. And she was like, I love you. I love your kids. And I think he was teasing about trying to get her like, hey, why don't you come live in New York City? You can fly down to Nicaragua much closer and quicker than from LA. Anyways, it was funny. But so that Jeff basically says, you're going to see her a lot more. And he's like, oh, why? And he's like, well, she's going to be on my new show. And Andy's like, what? And I'm thinking, oh my God, how does Andy not know about this? Jeff has been teasing hard about flipping out 2.0 for a while. And he finally confirmed it recently. I mean, absolutely confirmed it. Didn't say his shooting date or when it would come out, but I was like, wait, what? So I'm listening and Andy's like, no. He's like, you don't know about my new show? And he's like, no. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, did it sell? Did someone pick it up? And he's like, well, no. And Andy's like, later in the show, he basically said, well, I think you're getting ahead of yourself. Like, I don't know why you're talking about the show when it's in development. It's not been picked up. And Jeff's like, well, of course they're going to pick it up. But I'm like, I don't know this crazy TV world. Like, you never know when a project is greenlit and if all the dots aren't signed, the things aren't signed and the T's dotted and the I's crossed and whatever all that stuff is. But I think he would know about it as a friend and colleague and in the business. Like he would hear about it for sure. Christina says Andy's not in charge of Bravo programming. He's very involved with the Housewives programming, but not other stuff. Right. So, I don't know. Yes. Liz and the Bee says, I love Zoila when she says, shut up, Jeffrey. I love that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Debbie says, doesn't all the name calling sound like 9-year-old kids? Yeah, but vicious. I mean, boy, John Hill had some pent up anger about Kelly Dodd. Who knew? So I don't know. I'm assuming it is legally gonna happen, but it almost made me worry whenever Andy kind of acted like, well, dude, I think you're speaking out of turn right now. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, Tiffany. And then somebody said that NBC Universal, who's like the big parent company, maybe is trying to sell Bravo or something. So somebody put in my comments or DMs that maybe he shouldn't be so overconfident. Yeah, Tiffany Chomp says can't be too overconfident with Bravo. I mean, look at like huge, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but Netflix is famous for this. And Netflix is totally different, has nothing to do with it. But the fact that Netflix will have a really popular 1 or 2 seasons of a show and then they'll just drop it. Like you can't plan on anything in this crazy business. I think Amazon Freevee is not going away because there are new shows on it. They just redirected thing, whatever they call it, like shifted things around, and there's no room for Jeff. So basically, you would think if the cost of production versus what it was bringing in for value made sense, then they would obviously have a season 3, right? Like, I don't think anyone in that business is turning down money, but I don't know. I don't understand why Netflix will have these seemingly huge shows and then not bring them back for another thing. You know what I mean? Um, Deja Monet says, I was so looking forward to the reboot. I hope it comes to fruition. Yeah, I mean, but I obviously want to see more flipping out, not, you know, I don't really want a Hollywood House Lift season 3. I think the difference of that, you know what I mean? Adina says, I don't understand why Jeff would announce it if it isn't a done deal. But he didn't say it was picked up. He also said, well, no, it's not picked up. So I don't know. I think it's one thing if Andy just didn't know that it was picked up, but Jeff admitted, no, it's not picked up. It's in development. Well, that's different. I think that's kind of what happened with Shaw's of Sunset. I think it was in development and they were giving some really big clues. And I mean, I even thought a couple months ago when Reza and MJ were on for the first time on Jeff Lewis Live together, it was a Monday, and I was like, oh my God, they're going to announce this. They're going to announce Shaw's of Sunset, and then nothing. So I think that deal fell through for whatever reason. Who knows? I just love Andy and Jeff's banter. I think they could go on forever. I can't wait to watch What Happens Live. I'm hearing they were really hard on each other. And Saida Silva was even like, are y'all okay? And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, this is just how we are. I think even a caller called in on Andy Cohen Live and was like, man, that was rough to listen to. And I know I got a few DMs that said, boy, that was rough to watch because they were like bickering. And I'm like, God, that's just who they are. I don't think so. Lisa says, do y'all think Andy was just messing around with Jeff? I don't think so because Jeff said, no, it's not been picked up. And for Andy, I think Andy was like, that's when you tell it. You can have a show in development and people excited, but when it's picked up, I think in development, I'm speaking out of my arse here, but I think in development means you're getting everything ready and you're maybe talking to NBC, you're talking to ABC, you're talking to Netflix, you're talking to Amazon, like where's it going to end up? And then when it's picked up, that means you have a network. You may not have your day and time and premiere date set, but you're way more like you're on the books then. Like there's like contracts. I almost think in development doesn't mean, unless it's like, 70 years ago with TV and movies where movie stars had like deals. You had like a 3-movie deal. So you kind of knew you had 2 more movies. Does that make sense? Adina says, I love the way you say arse, Sarah. You sound like a Brit. Ooh, arse. Well, I try to be a lady sometimes, and arse just sounds better, right? I say shit way too often, so I try to stay away from the cussing, but sometimes I just get into a moment. Okay, I did not know. Let's talk about the second hour. I did not know that Ali Shapiro was going to be on today's show. I feel like the reason she was there is legit because she is flying out tonight. But you have to understand the second hour starts at 1 p.m. in New York City time. So there's not like she couldn't stay at the hotel or went shopping or sat downstairs in the coffee or the green room. But the fact that she went into the studio with Gary and Jill, I really think she was there to make sure her mom or Gary didn't say something about her very recent engagement ending 10 days ago. That's very new. And you have to realize, I mean, we all know Allie from RHONY. We've seen her since she was a teenager. And we see her on Jill's, whatever. She's an only child, but she's also never been in a relationship. So this was her first relationship in the late 20s. Most all of it happened during the pandemic. So very different. So I don't know, maybe she was very private about any detail. She was definitely not negative at all. Gary and Jill have vacationed with them. They hosted or partially hosted an engagement party for them. So this is all very new because I think they were only dating for like 2.5. I'm sorry, engaged for like 2.5 months. I think they were engaged for about 2.5 years. But I think it almost sounds like she's doing. The subtle thing I heard was when Jeff, I think, said how good Allie looked, and Gary or Jill basically said, well, that says it all. In other words, she's fine. Like, she's not like sobbing. She doesn't have bags in her eyes from crying all night. They haven't unfollowed each other on Instagram, one of the callers said. So I think it's fine. They have not talked, but that sounds about right. Like, it sounds like they made, or one of them made, a very absolute decision. And the only thing she really said was, look, this is a big deal. Like, so whoever ended it, it wasn't just like a breakup. It wasn't a pause like Jeff and Stu would have, where it was just like every other month, literally. You know what I mean? Kimberly Joy says Jill pushed the Ozempic on Allie for sure. Well, and I think Allie's 31 years old now. So I think anyone at that age, she can make her own decision to be on Ozempic or not. I mean, but let's put it this way. I have friends that have told me that their parents have made comments about their own weight, okay, as adults. So we know that there's a lot of things that can get to people about losing weight. Their spouse saying something, the magazines, the TV, their best friend, the public, if they're famous. So definitely, I think she can make her own decision, but I don't think Jill is unhappy that Allie has lost weight and is healthier, right? I mean, every mom wants their kid to be healthy. Krista says, hit the like button, friends. Help our girl out. Thank you so much, Krista. I really appreciate it. It was really good, though. Allie held her own, but I feel like if she tried, I feel like there was more tension than ever from Allie to Gary. I feel like Allie and Gary were always the little buddies together, kind of against stick in the mud, Jill. And I feel like Allie was kind of digging at Gary and Jill was digging at Gary. And I think it's funny until it's not funny, because I think those jokes only go so far. If he thinks it's funny, great. But I can tell you, my husband will be like, that was disrespectful. You kind of crossed the line. You kind of hurt my feelings. It's embarrassing because you said it on the radio. And I think it was a little much. I don't know. Louise says, will that video be up later? I don't know if they'll put up the second hour. I almost feel like if they don't do the first hour because of Andy Cohen, they won't put up the second hour, but I have no idea. There's no rhyme or reason to what they do. Tiffany Chump says, Jill annoyed me today. She's like Jeff, where she's trying to fix everybody and give her unsolicited advice. Yeah. And, I don't love the Stu bashing either, because, like Jill alluded to, she knows a lot about the situation. But then Shane was like, well, I don't think you know enough if you're still saying that Jeff and Stu should get back together. So again, she was very clear. Like, if he came and Stu did a lie detector test, don't you think he would pass? And Jeff said no. So I don't know. I don't think Stu's a liar. I never thought Stu used Jeff at all. Like I said, I don't have a GoPro on either one of their wieners, so I cannot vouch for anyone cheating. I just know what Jeff has said on the radio. Yeah, I know. Tiffany Chump says, why does Jill think she's best friends with Jeff, but she doesn't even understand his breakup with Stu? But Jeff always also made it very clear, look, if you and I were super close, Jill, as close as you maybe want to be, I would not be okay with you still being as close with Stu. And I think that's the issue he made very clear about Megan. Megan was definitely one of his inner circle chumps. He's like, look, I draw the line at you hanging out with Brandy and Julie and posting it on social media and hanging out with my ex Stu. You know what I mean? Uh-oh, Michael Riley says Stu is not a liar. So anyways, I should market GoPros for wieners. Oh my God. Can you imagine? They probably have them in the corn industry. You know what I mean? Okay, what else? She definitely gave her opinions about Monroe. She's behind in math and reading. Jill was very honest, saying that she had dyslexia as a kid and she finally got tested. So it could be that. It could be an ADD thing. It could be just she's a little bit behind in that. But I think she gave some really, she tends to give really from the heart parenting advice to Jeff. So that part I really do like. They are not doing Jill and Allie anymore. That's asleep, meaning it didn't do well. Because if you're still making money, it's just like the Raquel Levis podcast. If it was making some money, she wouldn't stop the podcast, right? But they're still doing JillZarin.com, which is Jeff20, code Jeff20 to get 20% off anything, like forever and ever and ever. Amen. Yes, Delia says, I thought Jeff didn't F with people that he doesn't F with anymore, but Jill is good friends with Stu. He kind of clarified that at one point because he definitely was clear that Kelly Dodd can be friendly with people that he's not friendly with, meaning Megan. And but I don't call Kelly and Rick inner circle either, as much as she might want to be. But yeah, he's definitely kind of changed that around a little bit. Krista says, are the nannies working with Monroe? I don't know. He doesn't really give any of those details, but he does have a hired one of her teachers he hired to be her tutor. So anyways. Well, we are going to wrap it up. He continues to be in New York City all week long. I cannot wait to go watch the rest of RHONY and see what this nonsense is about. Please make sure to hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, make sure you're commenting, hit the share button if you're lucky enough to have a family or friend that loves Jeff Lewis, reality TV, trash, as I like to say, celebrity gossip. Rick and Kelly did not go to the Halloween night, but I don't know why not either. Like, I don't know. Anyways, thank you, Tanya. Okay, I will see y'all tomorrow, same place, same time, 4 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow and Friday. And next week, I'll have to look and see what the schedule is. I don't think we're out for Thanksgiving. Is next week Thanksgiving? No. Thanksgiving seems so late this year. Anyways, okay, bye, y'all.